Feeling it little low light today. Low light today.
Yeah. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Grahasashrama graduates into Vanaprastha and Vanaprastha further takes us to Sannyasashrama. That's the completion of the life journey, our life cycle. So, in that sense, basically, the planning, the responsibilities of the Grahastha should be something which is leading us towards that. So, like the way that the asanas will lead us to pranayama, and the pranayama takes us away from prana to the manomaya kosha, and then meditation will take us beyond that. Ultimately, we go to the self. This is what is the journey of progress of yoga that we have seen in Patanjali's case. The same thing about the life. That's why we said that yoga is a way of life. So the same thing, whatever the journey that is there in the field of yoga, same thing will be there in our day-to-day life. Somebody who is extraordinary capacity at the beginning, he can become sannyasi. That's why Shankaracharya, people like that, they became sannyasis. So, but then others, for a common man, this is the gradual process that we need to go. Very smooth, gentle sailing, and with experience that we go forward. We have seen from Grahastha Ashrama, from Brahmacharya Ashrama to Grahastha Ashrama, how the training that is given led us to the Grahastha Ashrama. That means you are capable of getting into the Grahastha Ashrama. And at that time, that Guru also says that love, Veda Manucha Acharyante Vasana Manushasti, Satyam Vada Dharmam Chara. All these things are given because now these things you don't have to have it from the Gurukula because you are graduated now to see that you can adapt on your own. So basically, the restriction, the instructions are there, injunctions are there for you so that you can adapt for yourself when you go into the life. Then only what happens is that all these four varnas and everything is properly organized in the society and we can proceed further. And Grihasthashrama is the place where we have seen that Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. It's not that there are castes, but it's caste is the wrong word. They are the varnas. That means to say these are all the things which are the verticals. I said always that society needs all of them. So therefore, that nobody is big, nobody is small, nobody is great, nobody is less great, and they do their work. And because they want to do their work, there are certain disciplines which were there. In general, what we know very clearly is that Brahmana is supposed to be somebody who has highest degree of discipline that he has to have in life, so that he will not be easily swayed by his way of life, by the object outside. He is not enticed by any object. Then comes the Kshatriya, then comes Vaishya, and the last is Shudra. And Shudra, minimum amount of restrictions that are there. And it's not the question of that somebody is father, so therefore father is a Brahmana, son is a Brahmana. It is not like that. Our Vedas said, our Upanishad also said like that. In fact, Shvetaketu, when he goes to Uddalaka, Uddalaka says, in this house, nobody is born as a Brahmin. Everybody becomes a Brahmin. Otherwise, Brahmin is Shudra. In fact, if you go a little more deeper into it, it says that a Shudra will become Brahmana and then Vaishya will become Kshatriya. So it is like that. So right from the beginning, that somebody has a tendency towards material, he is the person that who will now become the protector of the material by learning. That's why basically that Vaishya is by training and all that, he becomes a Kshatriya. Whereas a Shudra, by learning discipline and all those things, he becomes a Brahmana. So this is how essentially in a broad view, Kshatriya, actually Vaishya will become a Kshatriya. So that means basically Kshatriya is one who protects. So that means you have possessions. I mean, Vaishya is somebody who has material possession. And then he will have now the passion, say, I should protect not only my material, everybody's material, everything that I have to protect. So it's natural for him to become a Kshatriya, a protector, because he is the person who is in charge and who knows about the value of the material, then he becomes like that. And the necessary discipline that he plans so that he will become a Kshatriya. Kshatriya needs certain amount of discipline so that you can become a Kshatriya, the protector. So the third, and you can see even the today's model also, that a company where somebody is really working and all that producing material, then he will become a CEO. That means by growing that he will become a CEO, protect the company and takes that company forward. So it is like that. The same thing about the society also. Whereas Shudra is somebody who learns. Shudra doesn't require any particular knowledge by itself, but his interest in knowledge, he learns, then he will become a Brahmana, because in learning, basically, that along with that learning, there is a discipline also necessary. That's why in Jnana, there are two things that are there, which are says that Shraddhaman labhate jnanam tatparaha sanyatendriyaha. Sanyatendriyaha is the idea called as the discipline. Yeah. So Shraddha should be there. Along with that, Indriya Samyama should be there. Samjitendriyaha. And Jnanam Labdha Param Shantim Achirenat Gachati. Bhagavad Gita says. That means such a person who has the discipline and also Shraddha, such a person will go from learning, the process of learning, then he becomes a Brahmana. So that's how basically the way Brahmana is somebody who has disciplined himself, which means basically a disciplined behavior really means that he doesn't have any pulls by any material outside. That means he cannot be attracted by anything. And that's what we have seen in the Upanishad so clearly shows that it is like a test it was offered. Like Nachiketa, when he goes to Yama, Yama says, I'll give you 100 elephants with all the gold, this, that, and all that. It's like an offering. Will you be swayed by that offering? Or the next one, he says that I'll give you all the beautiful girls and all that in the heaven, and then you go by that. So that means to say that he was shown all this kind of attractions, and then he says, no, I want the knowledge. So therefore, Samyatendriya and then Shraddha, when both these things are there, then he becomes eligible for Brahmana. That's what is the growth. So therefore, essentially, that these in society we have all these four uh, varnas are there which are taking care of the society, because each varna is working in its own way, in their own way. Purity of the varna is maintained because basically that the rules were provided also like that. A Brahmana will marry a Brahmana, a Vaishya will marry a Vaishya, Kshatriya will marry a Kshatriya. The result of it we have seen in such a way that the wars did not take place because every king is related to another king. So there was no question of fighting. Similarly, economy progressed because that every Vaishya tries to support another Vaishya to see that how they can grow. And even till today, without even this knowledge of all this Sanatana Dharma, people have that. Like for example, a Patel, well, another will help another Patel to establish one a motel, and then Holiday Inn is there, and then he goes there and say day in he will trade. Something like that they will do it. So therefore, it is something which is supplemented, augmented, and then material progress takes place. In this culture, there was such an extraordinary material progress that was there, and that was all because of Grasthashrama and distribution, and all those things will happen. Shudra will help another Shudra, so therefore they are connected with each other. And it is no binding that you have to be Shudra forever. If you are intellect, you can grow, you can develop. So it is not by birth. That's why Varnas are not by birth. Jati is by birth. So jati is supported by birth, janmataha jati. Therefore, basically, what are the advantages of being born to the parents? You have certain advantages, and that advantages you can start your life much earlier. You know the secrets of the trade because father will tell you the secrets. He may not tell the others, but he will believe in you and he will have trust on you, and he will see that you will definitely take it forward. So janmataha jati. Then karma. If somebody is doing a particular karma, then we say that kula. That kula is something where, yes, you are doing good work so that you part of this work and then you grow ahead. So this is how essentially that we have different divisions, but then different divisions are meant to have different kind of approach towards the whole thing. So these verticals that were there, now you grow in these verticals as you grow. Now you learn the trade, not only the trick of the trade, but the only science behind it, all those things. But there is a time when it comes that you have to really take to the back seat. And by that time, your children come up, or children age, next generation will come up. You hand over them this particular thing. The karma aspect you hand over, but the philosophy behind it, you keep it. So therefore, this is what is the idea of Vanaprasthi, is the person who is giving the philosophy, giving the idea, what to do, how to do it. He will not himself do the activity. So that basically what happens is that ups and downs and all those things that are there, either in the business or in the life, because of his years of experiences, 20, 25, 30 years of experience as Grahastha, and also earlier teaching that he has, all these things will give him the confidence and strength to see that a decision that he has taken is something which is okay or not okay, go in direction. It's not easily affected by a temporary fall or rise, because temporary fall and rise is always possible. He still has that confidence to see that further. So therefore, he's a big cushion. So Grihastha is something which is depends on the Vanaprastha all the time for advice. So they are the advisory capacity. We never had a person who is unimportant in the society. And that's what happens in the case of retirement. Whereas we really require them. They are supposed to be there. It's not only there, but there's another very important aspect that we have seen is that Bhagavad Gita itself, in the beginning itself, Bhagavad Gita says that you see, this body is temporary. And Vasamsa Jirnani Yatha Vihaya, it comes in. And you are somebody who is not touched by Achedyoyam, Adahyuyam, Aklodye. That means you are not touched by the fire or water, you are not burnt and all those things. It is said. And everybody reads Bhagavad Gita, everybody knows about these particular things. We know that, but we don't have an experience of that. It is just there in the background, but otherwise we are involved in the activities of the work. In fact, while involving in the work in the activities of the work, you take this philosophy, it doesn't work for you. So therefore, at that point of time, when you are in the grasta, this philosophy is there in the background, but only thing is that that has not become your way of life. So naturally, when do you practice? That is, when you come to vanaprastha level, that is when you see that the work is done outside, but you are somebody behind it. So that means to say, body, you separate yourself from the body, mind, intellect, and all that, and you slowly journey towards the consciousness. And that's what is your nature. And that practice has to be done during the time of Vanaprastha. You practice, you sit down together. All the other things are not necessary at the Vanaprastha level, not important for you. There are youngsters who take it. There are two reasons for that. Because the world belongs to the youngsters. They have to live a long life in this world. And you are ready to exit. So therefore, the world is not yours. Very simple idea that how the today's traffic driving, youngster can easily manage. Elderly people find it difficult. In fact, we see that when a car hardly moves, then I say it must be a senior citizen driving the car. So therefore he cannot fit in this. Uh, Same way in the train, a senior citizen, okay, he does not get into the metro train so easily. A police is necessary, somebody else is. It's a very simple idea. That same idea is given in the form of this idea of vanaprastha. It's a very simple thing. Now, we- this is one aspect of it. Second thing is that if that becomes important, then this life, this world, this body should become slowly, steadily less and less important. It's very important to see that how we have to become like that. Because basically, if you don't detach ourselves from the body level, as the age advances, the body goes through so many problems, difficulties, limitations. We can't do those things. Whatever that was there, we were doing 20 years. Today, we can't expect when we are 50 years or 60 years. So, therefore, we should recognize that. You should gracefully grow. That's the only culture where man grows gracefully to become a grandfather, grandparents. The other cultures, they still want to be youngsters. They still want to be part of youngsters. They would like to go for dance as the youngsters do that. And the youngsters feel, what is this headache? They don't want them to come. Why? Because basically that they don't, they're isolated in the society. Whereas we said, look, you're wonderful as an elderly person that you can do what you're supposed to do it. So this gracefully growing is basically that idea is that whatever that was necessary at the body level, at the gross level, is becoming less and less important the moment that you grow to this vanaprastha level. And in order to, and not only that you grow, but then you see the meaningfulness of something which is beyond this body level. That's what spirituality is all about. And that is where basically the values, ideas, rights, values in life, all these things come into the picture. And all our stories are that, all our Puranas are that. A Purana you tell to the child, he might appreciate for that moment, but later on, he can't live that. In fact, many times they say that, yeah, Rama could do that, going to the forest. I can't go to the forest. You see, idea is not going to the forest. Idea is going to see. I see the idea that, yes, word is something which you are given. It's very important. And slowly you detach yourself from the body level. Then it's easy for you to go to the forest, even the body, if you can manage it. So essentially, that teaching is slowly trying to give you a detachment at the body level. That is essentially that the way that now once this body and body connected, all these things become less and less important, then your clinging to that also becomes less important. That's why in Bhagavad Gita, how progressively in the yoga way of life, he says that Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasat, jnana dhyanam visishyate. In the 12th chapter of Gita, he says, Dhyana karma phala tyaga, tyaga shantir anantaram. See, that means to say, jnana is very important. Before that, we are doing the activity and we have to learn the idea behind the activity. So, therefore, Shreyohi jnanam abhyasat. Abhyasa means karma. So, much better than you do the karma. But at one point of time, karma becomes less important and the jnana becomes more important. Therefore, he says, Shreyohi jnanam abhyasat. Abhyasa jnanam shreyohi. Jnana dhyanam anantaram. So that means to say you are contemplating on that becomes much more important. And dhyanat karma palatyagaha. Slowly, what happens is you are removing yourself, involving in the activity, let the youngsters do the activity, and then you go towards the shanti. So, jnanam abhyasa, jnana dhyanam vishishyate, dhyanat karmapala tyagat shanti ranantaram. See, look at that shloka that in Bhagavad Gita 12th chapter gives. It's exactly the journey of a person from the brahmacharya ashrama to grahastha ashrama to vanaprastha to sannyasa. In that direction, when we have to go, it has to be a part of practice. Nothing in Bhagavad Gita what is given is not part of the practice. Similarly, there is another shloka. See how you need to really graduate yourself from the practice that you need to do at the Vanaprastha to practice to go towards the next level. Adveshtha sarva bhutanam maitri karuneyevacha nirmamo nirahankaraha sukadukha samakshami. In Bhagavad Gita, these are the Amrita shlokas that are the 8 Amritashtakam. And they give very clearly about the way that how this journey has to be done. The moment that you come to that vanaprastha level, at that level, there's no dvesha. You just don't take. Before that, yes, right, wrong, good and bad, this and that. In fact, you are involving into the work, therefore you do those things. But the moment that you come out of it, advesha sarva bhutanam. Generally, what is the tendency that you adapt? Maitrihi karunayevacha. That is the kind of a compassion, friendship, nirmamaha, nirahankaraha. Mamatva, ahankaratva, these are the things which are necessary at the earlier level, which were used at the earlier level. Now slowly come out of it. It's all that. Younger people are there, they do it. Samadukha sukakshami. You have gone through such a life where sukha, dukkha, they always have been there. So now you have to become samatvam yoga uchyate. That's what is the state that you read. And similarly, advesha sarvabhutana.
Then within the grahastha itself,
uh,
whatever dvesha and everything they
yes,
have to actually
come out of it.
come out of it.
Yes.
That itself.
So, when do you come out of it? In the grahasthashram, when you say that, yeah, no, I need to do, I have to involve in that. Yeah, but slowly keep this at the background so that when you come to the vanaprastha, you are coming out of it.
How does one know that you are entering vanaprastha? Is there an age? Or there...
By this is what is called as graduate. This is what is called as maturity. See, when you know that as the maturity happens, you see that, yeah, they are less important for me now.
That's a feeling.
Feeling that should come within you. Then you naturally get into that state. And santushta satatam yogi yatatma drida nishchaya. That's what is. Santushtaha. Such a beautiful word that is there. That means the moment that you come to the vanaprastha, that means you are completely trupti. Fullness is there. It's not a question of what you have, what you don't have it. Whatever that you are santushta satatam yogi, yatatma drida nishchaya. Then sarvarambha that's a very beautiful. Sarvarambha parityage yona bhakta samay priyaha. He says, arambha parityage, you don't initiate anything. The youngsters initiate. You help them. You don't start your own business again. All right, my son is doing a business. Okay, I'll also start a business. I'll start separate business, or my son will go and start a business, and then no, you don't have to do that. You don't initiate anything which is new, which is fresh.
Become CEOs, but we become consultants.
Yeah, right. You become consultant. That's what is the idea. So, sarvarambha parityagi yom bhakta savi. And similarly, in fact, now you come to a level, you see, all these things will prepare you for the sannyas ashram. So what are necessary to do for you to see that you are preparing for sannyas ashrama? This is the school, this is the class, and there's a period where you have to do that. So he says that one more sutra, this whole Amritastakam is for that. You see, Amritatva is something which does not have death. So if you have to travel to something which is within you, that Atma, which is described, that means to say these are the things which you practice to go to that. And that's why this is called as Amritastakam.
Like Narada Bhakti Sutra.
Yes, right. So in that Adveshta Sarvabhutana Maitrakarniyocha, similarly like that, this is another sutra. Esman Udvijate Lokaha, Lokan Udvijate Chaya. It's such an extraordinary, subtle statement which Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita. That means world doesn't disturb me. Udvijate Lokahi Esman. Lokan Udvijate Chaya. I don't disturb the world. wherever it is there. So, if somebody who is there at the Vanaprastha will understand that how beautiful life is. When they don't understand, can the Gita, shlokas, these are all the shlokas which are in the 8th chapter, last 8 shlokas, I'm sorry, 12th chapter, last 8 shlokas, which are called as Amritashtakam. I mean, nobody mentioned as Amritashtakam, but anyway, as some of the uh, saints have given that as Amritashtakam. So that's how we get it. But these are the 8 Ashtakam, means 8 shlokas in the 12th chapter Bhagavad Gita. So, Yasman Udvijate Loka, Lokan Udvijate Jayaha. Any situation that is there, you are so stable. You are not disturbing the world is not that means you have no demand on the world, nor that world does not have any demand on you. That means you are withdrawn from that.
But it can be mistaken as you are indifferent to the world also.
Yes. It has to be like that.
Indifferent
Now,
means I don't
indifference
care
means
about the world, or
not
I'm
that
celebrating
question.
the world.
I raised above the level of this world. See, like for example, just if I'm 70-year-old and then I'm walking in the street and then somebody falls and then I tell youngsters, please go and help them. They don't tell me by saying that, come on, why don't you go and help him? They respect my age. So that they see that I have grown above that. I'm not indifferent to the world.
That's a bit.
See, we are never indifferent. Something happens in the family also. I'm not indifferent, but at the same time, they know that very well. I've grown out of it. I cannot take responsibility of that. See, that is the reason why we have graduated into Vanaprastha. If you don't understand that, then we jump and want to do something in the process that there's not one patient, there'll be 2 patients. You will also be there. You need something. Yasman udijate loka, lokan udijate. Similarly, like that, uh, harsha, amarsha, bhaya, udvegaihi, muktoyaha. That means to say, you are not touched by or you are not demanded by harsha. That means something which is exciting. Amarsha, which is depressing. Udvega, that means something which is disturbing you. From all these things, you are free from that. Yes, you see, you are at that level where somebody comes and says that a youngster has some cancer, he's going to die tomorrow, he's going to die. Oh, I should not become panic about that. I said, okay, what are the things we need to do it? How else we can apply? See, that's the reason why basically the people who are in the Vanaprastha level are the people who are counselors for the younger generations. They understand what is life, what is marriage, what is the. So that's why you can give that advices to them. That's what. Harsha Marsha Bhayodvagaihi Muktoya Sachame Priya.
That is also coming in Bhagavad Gita.
It's all in Bhagavad Gita. These are all the things that are there. Similarly, Anapekshaha, Shuchidakshaha, Udasino Gatipyataha. So, this is also another. Apeksha, this person who is there in the Vanaprastha level, he has no apeksha, he has no expectations from anybody. See, what happens is that he has his life and he still has capacity to do the things. And that is for himself, he can do that. He can keep he can go to the temple, he can go to this place, and then all those things he can anapeksha. Shuchihi, dakshaha, that means his capacity. So these are the qualities that are there. Yona hrishyati na dveshti, na shovuchati na kankshati, shubha shubha parityagi, bhaktiman me sache priya. These are the shlokas which now will have to be put into the practice. As in the case of, Sthitaprajna, whatever that Shankaracharya says, that these are the qualities of Sthitaprajna, whatever that is qualities of Sthitaprajna, for a common person, they are supposed to be that you consciously practice. In fact, look at the commonality between Sthitaprajna and here. Sthitaprajna is also like that, Sthitaprajna, that is,
Centered.
yeah, you are peaceful. Yada samharjayam, kurmango neka sarvashaha. See, that means all those things are there, like the way that a turtle just withdraws from the world outside. He says like that. So the same thing like that is here. But there at the youngster level, at the 20 years, 25 years, these are the instructions given to you. Whereas here, these are in the 50 years and 60 years, they are given instruction to you. So basically, these are the instructions which are at elder age, but then similar to that, there you withdraw to see that your progress takes place in the world outside. Here you withdraw so that your progress towards the spirituality goes inside. That's why it is called as Amritashtakam.
There was a question in one of the students'
Yeah.
group saying that when the turtle does that
Yeah.
pratyahara, is there a chance that somebody might be having that escapism attitude?
Yeah.
So,
So that's why that example, the turtle example is given. We have to take it with the proper understanding. Turtle withdraws only when there is a danger around. Life is threatened, something like that. So there is a reason for withdrawing. But whereas here, the the idea of this upasamhara, that's there in the uh, pratyahara. Pratyahara, it is not out of fear or this thing or out of negativity, but you withdraw because that you have an ability to withdraw, so that your journey is to go towards. That's why while giving a explanation on pratyahara, I always say that why do we need to have pratyahara? Say, is it the world bad? Is it something horrible? Is it I have to save myself from the world? No. World is a wonderful place. Don't find fault with the world. But pratyahara is important because basically, if such a wonderful world that's there in front of us, such a vibrant world, it is like the way waves of the ocean. The waves of the ocean are there because the depth of the ocean. But we don't know the depth of the ocean. When do we know it? When you withdraw from the waves and then go in tide. And further also that there is an idea that is the waves actually camouflage the depth of the ocean. You can't see the depth when you are involved in the world. That's the reason why you need to do pratyahara. Not with an idea of world is negative. Because many times people have portrayed that these are the doubts that are there. Either you become complacent or you become escapism, or third is that the world is horrible, world is bad, world is disturbed, world is terrible, world is a bondage, mithya, therefore you withdraw. Or it is not that idea, withdraw so that you can go to the depth of the world, depth of the ocean. It is for that reason that you go. So it's very similar to that, but there it is. The idea is that prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogata atmanyo atmanatushta sthita prajnastatochate. There you see this shloka itself, sarvan kaman. That means to say there are so many desires, there are so many avenues that are there. All those things are there. Prajahati yada kam prajahati. So that Atmanyeva, all those things are there, but you be satisfied within yourself. Atmanyeva Atmanatushta. Tita Prajnastatocha. So, uh, so there it is the question where you are youngster, the whole world is there in front of you, all the attractions, everything that is there in this world. But with all those things, you try to be satisfied within yourself. That's what is the message that he gives. So it is at that level where you have energy, you have and you can involve into the world, you can do a lot of things and all that. In spite of the fact that you do, and you are involved in doing all those things. In spite of the fact that you are doing all those things, that you be Atmaneva Atmanatashta, that means come back to yourself. This is what. Now here further he says that in this particular thing, not only that you come back to yourself, but there is something which is the amritatva that is there within you. And that is what is something supposed to be. In fact, while commenting about this shloka, Shankaracharya gives that Sachame Priyaha, every time Krishna says that somebody who follows that Amritashtakam, and is the person Sachame Priya, he says that, like for example, Adveshta Sarvabhutana, Maitri, the other thing that is Satatam Santushta, uh, you know, Santushta Satatam Yogi, Yatatma Dridahya, Sarvaramba Parityagi, Yonad Mat Bhakta Mache Priya. I mean, it looks like Krishna says that they are Priya for me, the others are not are Apriya for me, I don't like that. That is not the idea, saying that these are the only people when you come to this level, you are now turned towards the divinity within you. That Krishna, Sachave Priya, not somewhere. You are satisfied within yourself, you come back to yourself. That's what is the state that you reach. Therefore, he says that Sachame Priya, it is not that Krishna is uh, favoring some people, not favoring some people, but the way that he explains about that is like the way sun is shining, but you close your window. The sun does not open your window and come inside. You have to open your window. So these Amritashtakam shlokas are the ones where you open the window. So that Sachame Priya, in such cases I enter into you. So the whole idea is to see that how you are to be available to see that your recognition. Now what happens is that if somebody in the from brahmacharya ashram onwards, immediately he sees that amritatva within himself, he can overcome this in between and then directly go to sannyasa. In fact, that's what Shankaracharya says. He says that yadhareva pravajet, tadhareva virajet. The moment that you find out that you are recognizing that you are divinity inside, amritatva inside, then tadhareva virajet, then you can immediately turn that. But that has to, first thing has condition has to be there. Pravajit has to happen, then only that Virajit can happen. But if that does not happen, or that might happen temporarily, because I see somebody, a sannyasi and everybody touching the feet, and then he goes everywhere, they give good food and all those things. Then you also take sannyasa, they give that fellow, but not you. Then you start begging your food. I've seen so many people who have taken to sannyasa, but later on they found that that life is not suitable for them. See, that's why sannyasa was not a big jump. Sannyasa is something is a gradual portion that you need to do. You need to come out of it. In fact, that's why Shastriji always used to say one thing very strong. Bah, I can never forget the way that he said. Anybody comes to him spirituality interest and I would like to go and meditate and do all these things and then leave my job. He said, first of all, earn your money. Do you have enough money to live for yourself? Can you live by yourself? Can you sit quiet without any object outside? Once you test all those things, then you take. Otherwise, go through this whole process. You have to become grasta, you have to do the karma yoga, and then you have to mature yourself to go to vanaprastha. Then go to sannyasa. Don't jump suddenly.
That becomes almost like an escapism also.
Yeah, that's an escapism. Look at the way that how this culture unfortunately misunderstood that during the Buddha's time. So everybody became a bhikshu. Because, see, bhikshu is such an extraordinary, wonderful concept. In fact, nobody else is allowed to do the bhiksha excepting the student and also a sannyasi. Then everybody started becoming a bhikshu. And the society was burdened by these bhikshus because they gave this rule also saying that the society responsibility to take care of these bhikshus. Such a strong way that they have given this idea that a prosperous country suddenly became a beggar because full of beggars. Nobody was doing the work. So 90% of them were only become escapists. As you rightly said, that the escapists. That became like that. Because bhikshus also, they sat down, they do some small little simple thing and all that. And that's all happened. Only very few people have become really teachers of Buddhism, teachers of Hinduism. But the rest of them, they were only just depending on the society. They became parasites. So Shastriji always used to say that don't be a parasite. You have to earn your living, you have to live. In fact, added to that, our Shastra also says very clearly that Every creature in this nature can survive on its own. Like a small little bird becomes big, mother throws away. And then you go and find out your food. When a bird can do that, why not we? Earthworm lives on his own. Every creature finds a way. Why only human being has to become a parasite on somebody? You can't be. He didn't allow anybody to become parasite. And he also said very clearly, don't unnecessarily burden anybody. Because by being parasite, you are burdening somebody. Don't go to burden anybody. In fact, that's what also Shankaracharya says, that if you go to take the bhiksha for somebody, you have to give them something which is valuable for them much more than the bhiksha that they are given. Either the message that you give or give them the satsang, give them something like that, so that they will feel. And again here, that as I say, anapeksha, shuchadaksha, all this, you see, you don't have any expectations, but I've seen sannyasins go to the houses and they have so much expectations. This has to be done, that has to be done. You have not done this, you have not done that. My God, so many. So I feel that leave that alone. Don't give importance to those things. See, where is the question of when now the next thing is that you the way that you behave in the case of vanaprastha should automatically graduate towards sannyasashrama. And sannyasashrama is such a great respect in the society. That means you are such a way that now nothing matters to you. All that matters is that you are being. And the message that you give, you are like the divinity yourself. Sannyasi is one step to the divinity. And there's another thing. Sannyasi is somebody who has, in fact, the it is made into a ritual also that he offers pinda pradana for himself. That means he died already. That is what is sannyasa. So that means to say, even his body does not become a burden to anybody. He has already burnt it in.
That is the part of the ritual.
Yeah, part of the ritual of sannyasa. That means swayam pinda pradana. That's what they say that. A lot of people go to Gaya to do the pinda pradana for themselves. That means to say they don't live anymore. They are not living anymore. So whatever that is there is just being carried away. That's what is the only thing. They do not become any burden to anybody. In fact, there are certain people. I know somebody who has done this Pinda Pradana for himself. He said, now onwards, I don't want anybody to spend any expenses on my medicines. Because I've done the Pinda Pradana. I died. So where is the question of my sickness? Where is the question of spending money on my medicine?
Correct.
So that logically it doesn't hold good.
It's like signing an agreement.
Yeah, right. So consciously die. This is what Shankaracharya, this is what's his name? The Kalidasa writes in Raghuvamsha saying that Yoginante Tanutyajam. So his dying is like merging himself into the five elements. Yoginante. That means death is not a burden on him. He just leaves. He says, goodbye, I'm going.
Some people I see that, I don't know, here in India it's followed or not, DNR, do not resuscitate.
Yeah.
It is like you sign it. It's like
Right.
as if you're doing.
Right.
That's
what.
don't try to bring back.
Don't try to make me live.
Yeah.
See, I decided to die. Don't make me. I mean, I decided to not be in this body anymore. I've done enough with this body. I respected this. I was there. Now I decided to get out of this body. Why are you pushing me into this? Pulling me into this? I want to go. Your medicine, you are just thing. In fact, today you can develop so many medicines to see that I live. My body as vegetation.
Yeah, ventilators.
Yeah. I don't have to be. In fact, he told me very clearly that, elderly person, he said that I did my Pinda Pradana when I went to Gaya. After that, I told my people, don't spend even one pi on my medicines. Food you give me, surviving. But medicines you don't give me. Very nice thing.
And he did it not out of anger,
Yeah.
but out of.
Yes, he knows that. After all this, but this is what is Vasapsi Jinnani Yadavi. In Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, whatever he said, it's true. Acchodye, I mean, I'm not touched by any of this. Achedyo, Manasyoyam, Akledyo, Shochayavacha, Nistyaha, Sarvagataha, Sthano. I'm there. Sarvagataha. Achaloyam, Sanatana. I'm Sanatana. What a beautiful expression he says that. I'm always there. If not in this body, some other body I was there, another body was there, and this body I leave this, and then I may be in another. Or even if the body is not there, I'm alive. Because basically, soul doesn't have any death.
But you told me.
Yeah. I'll be there. What is there? Sanatana. Achaloyam. Achalaha. Where is the question of movement for me? If that concept has to become reality, then Vanaprastha is a place where you do that. So that's the reason why in the Vanaprastha you tell the stories to the children, give them these ideas, so that it will go into their head. They'll be there. I remember my, nephew is too small. In America, he used to come back from the school. Literally, when he came back from the school, first thing is that he will change the dress into putting on the dress of Rama with with a kirita and also with bow and arrow and all that, and he would play Ramayana, watch the Ramayana, and he become himself Rama. So that was there as a samskara within him. So that becomes like in the old age, you become that way. It's so easy. So this journey has to happen. Therefore, it becomes like that. So that's why Grihastha should we should really graduate from Grihastha to Vanaprastha. That means to say we have to consciously come out of Grihastha, don't have to hold on to it. What are the things that are necessary to come? I've seen people 60, 70 years and all that, they still think of all this property, this, that, and then job. I can't do anything else, therefore I continue to do the work. I go to the work, I work. Why are you doing all these things? When you're 60, you worked all right. But when you're 70, why do you have to work? Let the youngsters take care of the work. You be free from that.
They say that they want to be useful to.
Do we want to restart to install these and try harm? Actually, what has to happen is we at least few people will live, others will see us and then learn from us. See, we have to become what, all said and done, people, the psychologists say, the child learns by imitating, not child. In fact, other psychologists say, I'm okay, you're okay. In that book, he says that every individual has a child within, and the child wants to imitate. So if I live some way, and then anybody who sees me would like to imitate that. It's like that. See, like Naganji lives in a very simple dress. IAS officers club, they invited him for talk. And I was there. And then the chief secretary introduced, there is a man who left NASA, these, that, and all those things. And then he has done so much work. And then he said, his name is Nagendra. And then he looked at him and he said, see, I don't say that he's simply dressed. I'm overdressed. A beautiful statement. So that means a person feels that I'm unnecessarily keeping all these things. How many people see this happy sannyasins and all that, and they become easily converted to that. That's what his Hare Krishna movement is doing. The whole of Italy is now changing. There's change that's happening because basically that you become like a role model for that. You see, what happens, I always keep saying that in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata, when he said, when dharma declines, that's what a lot of the books say. or dharma is clouded. Neither dharma declines nor it is clouded. But what happens is dharma becomes, feels inferior. I said, who creates that? Dharma doesn't become inferior. But the people who follow dharma, they make that feeling. Like I always say, I used to have a colleague of mine. He was absolutely Puritan, 100% non-corrupt, etc., etc., all those things. But he had 4 children. And then I asked him, Raugaru, how are you doing? And that person said, why do you ask, how am I doing? I'm very non-corrupt, I'm not simple, I'm pure and all that. Therefore, like this, once in 3 days, 4 days, he would shave and he would have potash pant and then slippery slippers and all that. So I'm like this. I said, Baba, don't be like this. Be smart. Be corrupt. But this way, if you are there, if somebody wants to follow the pure, non corrupt kind of a life, by looking at you, will not be inspired. This is what is dharma se glanin bhavati. That means to say, I follow dharma, but I should make dharma to feel bright, strong, so that somebody feels that I'm happy because I follow dharma. I'm satisfied because I follow dharma. Then they will be promoted to, they will be interested to follow that. So that's another very important idea that that's why he says that santushtaha satatam yogi yatatma dridhanakya. A vanaprasthi is somebody who should look santushta. Is full, complete. So that what happens in somebody to go into that level, consciously walks into that level. Otherwise, he'll be holding on to the grastha level. Oh my God, I have to retire. The retirement is such a curse on me. So, therefore, this is the only culture where basically the vanaprastha, the elderly, the growing old, is highly respected. Highly respected. Touch the field of elderly people because they're extraordinary. They have gone through this life. So that what happens is that now you will start living such a way, vanaprastha level, then that entitles you, that graduates you into sannyasashram. That's the idea. Stop it here at this.
So this Shodasha Samskara, like that they have the Shashti Purti, this and all, is it also a kind of an indication
Yes.
to a person that
Right,
it is time
respectfully
for you
that you are
to
growing. You
transition?
grow, yes, you grow, transition into that. 100 years,
It's a reminder, people.
And it's a very nicely projected also that Shoda Samskara, 60 year. Actually, we follow a calendar which is 60-year calendar. We have 60 years. That say Prabhava Pramodati, these are the things that are there. So that means every 60 year, the whole calendar repeats. That means Grastiti and all those things will reunite that way. That's why on the day that you are born, you do the Shashti Purti. That means you have finished 60 years. You are entering into 61. That's why your birth is celebrated, then simultaneously your education going to that is the Upanayana is celebrated, and then the marriage is celebrated. All those things are celebrated because basically you are reborn, your journey. So that now 60 years, you are completed such a beautiful way.
So that is like you're entering into. So,
yes.
Come on, enter.
Another cycle. Next cycle of life. That's it. There is so much of respect in all these things that we do. Then there is another celebration. No, it is Sahasra Chandrika Darshana. That means you have seen 100, I mean 1,000 Purnimas. That's about 81, 82 years in between it comes. So that's another thing. Then 100 years. So your growing is graceful. I attended one such festival, such celebration of 95 years of somebody's, and then we And then Professor Swami was there. He was sitting with him. His uncle, he's finished 95 years, and we celebrated him. And I was there actually. There was somebody else and myself. We were there. And he has written several books and all that. He is a big writer. So, what's your project? I said, now I'm starting a new book. At 85 years, he's starting a new book. Enthusiasm like that. That's
So in Vanaprastha, enthusiasm is good,
yeah.
but centeredness and these qualities are also important. So that you're
That's
not a parasite to the world.
Yes.
You don't look at the world as
Right.
that.
And then you prepare yourself to see that the day when you have to leave the world, happily you leave this world. That's why Vanaprastha to sannyasa. When you enter into sannyasa, then you give shraddha for yourself. That means there's no more living. And for that, you need to prepare in Vanaprastha. That's why it's such a wonderful moment. He said that I did my shraddha in Gaya, came back. And now I told my people that no money is spent on my treatment because I already did shraddha for myself.
Come to that level to do that.
Yes. I see you hanging this thing, legs are hanging, and then water bottle is hanging, and drips bottle is hanging. What is all this nonsense? I lived comfortably. Swami Ramtirtha, when he was.
Here in Grihastha time,
Yeah.
the most difficult for a person is looking at a Vanaprastha ashrama person.
Yeah.
And thinking that they will leave also, right? So that is also one lesson learned in Grihastha.
Yes, Grihastha, we have to learn that lesson. Because, in fact, it is so beautifully said that when somebody dies in the church, they toll, the bells they toll. So, therefore, this says that every toll of the bell that you hear, don't think somebody died in the village, but it is reminding you. One day bells will be tolled for you also. This is a beautiful journey, Sanatana Dharma. At every level, it has been valued spiritually. There's nothing less spiritual about this thing. So I'll stop it here. I'll continue the discussion. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yes, you can unmute. And questions? What is this?
Somebody is written in chat.
I don't know, whatever that is coming.
Sometimes old chats come.
No, it's no, something is hanging.
Can the Gita even more motivated now after listening to today's talk on Vanaprastha? Terrific presentation. Becoming more powerful mentally. Yeah.